We've been asked a lot of questions recently about the power feeders. They're a relatively new product we launched going back a few months now. I just wanted to explain a little bit about what they were intended to, and also the differences in the ranges. Principally, again, as we have with the other rods, we've got a Hi-S version and a CTX version. Obviously the Hi-S using the 40-ton Japanese carbons that we're well known for with the carp rods and barbel rods and so forth that we do. Actually the carbon is even higher material than those rods, so we can make them even slimmer and lighter but still keep the power. And then obviously the CTX, and again, you know, it uses a material that we've used and tested a lot for the carp rods. It's a 40-ton carbon, again a Japanese carbon. Got a bi-axis weave on it as of the whole of the CTX range. Now, both ranges have two different actions or applications. We have the distance models and we have the special models. Now, I'm always accused of doing too many rods in the range by our shops, but the reason why I do it is because I want to fill every gap and every possibility that people have. And I'll talk about a particular rod we've got in the range which I love, but won't be necessarily the biggest seller, but I'll explain the reasons why we've done it. The special models are rated up to a casting rate of around about 120. They're ideal for, you know, sort of the 50 to 80 gram range, obviously of loaded feeder and hybrids, cages, so forth. They are very, very good for bream, for carp. The actions are generally a little bit softer, obviously, than the distance range, which has a higher casting rating. The specials certainly still good for, well, extreme ranges, as we've demonstrated before in a video that Hutch has done, obviously showing the capabilities of them. Now, the special models, I think, are very suited to, you know, waters like we are today, the Clattercoat, Boddington. They're suited when you don't know what you're going to catch. I'm sitting here, you know, catching carp and bream as well, and the rod is coping with both. Incidentally, I'm using the CTX 12-foot special. The distance models are rated up to a casting rate of around about 160. Now, where they come into their own is if you're dealing with a lot of weed in the water, as we recently saw with Rob Wootton, who was fishing the bigger State Lake for bream, where he was needing to get, obviously, fish through weed. They're also very well suited for the big continental rivers, or when you've got a big tow on the water, or when you really are pushing the big chucks. Now, they are slightly different in action because although they're reasonably soft in the tip, but especially the Hi-S models with the hollow carbon tips, they're more steely in the butt to middle section. So whereas the special will tend to bend through, the distance will have more power in the middle to butt section, so it doesn't tend to bottom out as much. But having said that, because of the way we've done the tips, particularly with the Hi-S one with the hollow tips and the CTXs with the shorter tips that we've spoken about before, they're still capable of bending through, so you get a very gradual build-up of power, and therefore you don't pull hooks. Now, I mentioned obviously trying to cater for everybody, you know, the different tastes and different applications. So as well as the distance and the special models, we've then got different rods in the range from 12 foot to 14 foot. So the range starts basically with two 12-foot rods, one special, one distance, and this is replicated between the Hi-S and the CTX. Then you go up to 13 foot. Now, I want to do something a bit different with a 13 foot because I personally love two-piece rods, and I love the fact that you can get a really nice action with a two-piece. You can get a lighter rod with a two-piece, and you can get a slimmer butt section, but still keep all of the same characteristics. So for the rods of the Hi-S and CTX, we've got both two-piece 13 foot and three-piece 13 foots. So my personal opinion. I love the 13-foot two-piece. It probably won't be the biggest commercial seller because of obviously the problems with transportation of it. One of the guys here, Richie, has got one of the 13-foot two-pieces, absolutely loves it to bits. So in action terms, lovely rod to use. Obviously only one section, you can break it down easier because it's literally a joint in the middle. We have the three-piece models, and the three-piece actions are obviously very similar to the two-piece. Obviously the advantage of the three-piece is you can put them in a conventional hold-all. And then we go up to the beasts of the range, if you like, the 14-footers. Again, the three-piece available in the special and the distance. And the 14-foot distance is an exceptional rod for when you need to get the rod right up in the air, particularly for the big continental rivers or the big lakes in Ireland or those kind of waters. Well, I hope that gives you a little bit of an insight into the power feeder range. Obviously we've seen it, a little bit of video footage with Rob Wootton recently. We'll be doing a more of, that range to show the capability of those rods.